What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have some amazing topics that we're gonna discuss tonight. So, without any further ado, let me go ahead and bring out my producer, Marc Lee. So we're just gonna freestyle it and just go wherever the flow goes, because it's so much stuff to try to get in. So we're just gonna take topics that he throws at me, and we're just gonna discuss it and jump right in. So, how's it going?
It's doing good. Actually, I had an event. That's what I was talking to my coworker about earlier. So I had to come to the center earlier today because there was a group of international delegates that were dealing with human rights violations and all along those lines. So they were coming from places like India and places like Kenya and Belarus and a number of other places. So it was great having this chance to talk to them and find out some of the commonalities, because even the whole school to prison pipeline, gun issues, and a number of other issues that we are facing on a regular basis, including the issue around homelessness and all along those lines, are things that are not just going on here in the West, in the United States and all along that space, but they are going on internationally. So they were talking about some of the efforts that they were doing to deal with these different struggles. And like here, they've got some political divides as well and everything. So it was just fascinating hearing them talk about it. As a matter of fact, the young lady, I think she was the one from Belarus, there's a picture of Mr. Duke, and Mr. Duke, of course, gave some money to this senator, and that's why he has the most prominent stained glass, even more prominent than Jesus Christ himself. So we're talking about the nature of colonialism and how that impacted when things were going on in that space. But she pointed out that I think Jesus in one of these murals is maybe wearing like a red outfit or something along those lines. And she was saying that if they were caught wearing those colors in her country of Belarus, you might find yourself in prison. So, we talk about the Bloods and the Crips and the colors that goes on there, but apparently it also happens in other countries as well. So you can be wearing the wrong color and find yourself in somebody's jail cell. And we're also talking about how different religions are treated as when they enter mingle. So like if a Christian marries a Muslim, apparently that's all right if it's a Christian woman marrying a Muslim man, but if it's vice versa, then the person is supposed to do conversion and all in that space. So it was quite interesting to hear these fascinating conversations and to learn more about how this was all taking place. And so that was fascinating. And what the thing I've got to get to you about and all in that space is I went to Juneteenth, and a lot of people don't know that Juneteenth is and we've got a Juneteenth celebration this Friday, but I went to the one on North Carolina Central University and everything. And you know who had the nerve to be at the Juneteenth celebration? It was almost as bad as Trump being out there. But we're in the middle of this gubernatorial race with a very conservative brother, kind of like a Tim Scott type and everything, named Mark Robertson, and he's going against a Jewish gentleman, Josh Stein, and everything. But he was there. I didn't see him personally, but I didn't only stay there for like an hour or maybe an hour and a half because it was hot. Like you were going to Europe then, and it was hot earlier, so I didn't stay out there that long. But I did see that he had some white folks that were manning the table for him and were trying to promote some of his very conservative viewpoints and all along those lines. So he's another one of those folks that some folks may see as a Uncle Tom type and all along those lines. So I just wondered, I was going like, well, you got some real, it's our show, so I'm just going to be bold and use the term. You got some real balls to show up at a Juneteenth event and all along those lines, so particularly with your white compatriots, and be trying to sell his brand of politics, which is very Trump-oriented. Matter of fact, Trump endorsed him, and Trump said that he was comparable to Martin Luther King Jr. and all in that space. And he also said to you women that the problem with the abortion was that many of you women didn't know how to keep your skirts occupied or to regulate your skirts, and that's why he did not have as much of a issue with the whole Dobbs decision, because he was basically trying to throw the blame on you sisters. And I'm going like, no, well, it takes two to tango, and all along those lines. But he wanted to try to throw the blame on you sisters and have this very asinine, and I'm just going to use that word, comment about the skirts and all along those lines.
Well, I mean, I try not to engage idiotic, people and things or whatever, because my grandma always say, you argue with a fool, you become a bigger fool. But for somebody who has been right wing and to show up at a Juneteenth organization or event or whatever, that's like a slap in the face or whatever. So you're just pandering to get black votes and things like that. But I fought the people who were at the Juneteenth celebration. They should have stopped it immediately, and they should have had his ass escorted off the premises, and things like that or whatever, because it's clearly evident that you don't stand with our belief system, and you don't believe the way that we believe, and you're not for the people, because like they always say, all skin folks ain't kin folks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Meaning that all black people ain't for all black people or whatever. So to me, that was a major insult and a major slap in the face. So I definitely, if I was there and I was in charge, I would have had him removed, along with his so-called supporter, and things like that or whatever. And I would have made an announcement that we have someone here who is a Trump supporter, and he's pandering to get your votes. And I would have let it be known, and I would have stated all the things that he has said, and stuff like that or whatever. Because the thing about it is, what people fail to realize is, they only want your vote. They don't want to help you. They're not concerned about your concerns. They only want your vote. So we already know that. So we have to go out and vote for the person that we know that is going to be a better person in office, because we have to get somebody who is somewhat aligned to our belief systems and what we believe in, and where we want to go and things like that or whatever. But these black folks out here worse than the white, and you got to understand, a lot of times throughout history, if we want to look at a historical look at it from a historical standpoint, it was a lot of black people that sold black people out. That's why we don't have the support in the with the politicians in certain offices and things like that, because they sold black people out. They were the voice for black people, and they took a different stance. I mean, we could see it in Jackson, Mississippi, when they voted for a sheriff, and the black people can't even arrest, black officers can't even arrest white people. And Jackson is predominantly black, but you got the less of the population, which is white, who's totally running Jackson and things like that. You can look at it in other places in the South where the black areas receive like certain amount of money, and the white people want to take it over, saying that black people can't run it and things like that or whatever. And you have black people who are supporting these white folks, you know what I'm saying? And so my thing to that is, y'all need to put your foot on their necks. Y'all need to start holding these black people accountable, just like y'all holding the white people accountable, because this is where the rubber meets the road, is with the black folks, because they know that they can say things that the white folks can't say, and they know that they're being spoon-fed things to say in order to pander the white vote and things like that or whatever. One thing I would never do, Mark, is sell my soul to the devil, and I would never pander to white people. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they're gonna side with their kind and their people at the end of the day. I don't care what kind of oh, they're this person, they're that person. It doesn't matter. We see it every day in the voting polls. Just like when they came up with this feminism and things like that. The white women didn't side with black women when they were voting. They voted for their own best interest, because they know that they're going to be the direct beneficiaries of white supremacy. They know that these white men are going to take care of them. So when they were out there marching with the pink hats and the pink kitties and things like that, like I told them, I said, I don't give two rats asses about you and what you stand for and what you're looking to to vote for. I'm not voting with you, and I'm not standing with you, because when we asked y'all to stand with us, y'all voted against us, and you clearly voted against us. Y'all voted against us with Trump. If y'all wouldn't have voted with us against us with Trump, Hillary would have won, but they voted against us with Trump. They voted against us with the new governor in Virginia and things like that. So it shows throughout the voting process. They say one thing, but they do another. So again, we have to, as black people, we have to start putting a fire under these people and holding these people accountable, not just the white people, but also the black people as well. So he should have been marched off the premises, and he should have been told to go where, where he's pandering for those votes, and who's sponsoring his campaign. not stay over here at the Juneteenth celebration.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying and everything along those lines. And in that space, you're very much right about that. And even here in the Black Wall Street, which Durham was one
Mm-hmm.
of several around the country, you are right. There were a number of people that saw an opportunity to make some money when the highway was being built and they were going to destroy our neighborhood. And they thought they were going to get a certain amount of money. And some of them didn't get that money, like you were saying. And they basically sold out their people. Now, there were some others that were made promises that the promises were never kept and were never intended to be kept and all along those lines. But yeah, there were some people that were some definitely going because they wanted to see what they could make out of it, but they were not thinking about the greater good of the masses and the greater good of the people and all along
Mm-hmm.
those lines. So I'm thoroughly with you on that. And we got a lot of people that are in that space. I was going to bring up another issue around race, and then I got another issue around social media that's going to bring to your forefront and everything. But a lot of people are going at because apparently they met for the first time recently, and Caitlin's team did win, but a lot of people are upset because apparently Angel Reese wasn't playing and she gave a hard foul, and that she did not back down off of the hard foul that she gave as well. But I just wanted your take because a lot of people are upset over the way that Caitlin is being treated, and they feel that she should have been on the Olympic team. And I'm going like, well, she's only barely been in the league and everything. And even when Christian Leitner made it as a rookie, he didn't really pay that much, and he basically got some garbage time in the Olympics and everything. So, what's your take when these folks are trying to still paint her as the great white hope of the WNBA?
Well, first of all, let's just start with if y'all don't want her to be physical and y'all don't want people to touch her, she shouldn't play basketball.
Mhm.
Basketball is a very aggressive sport. Basketball is a physical sport. It wasn't like she was doing it intentional. She was going after the ball. You could clearly see that she swiped for the ball, and it just happened that during the time she was swiping, Caitlin went up and she went down. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is with that, like y'all just want her to be able to drop. Nobody can hold her. Nobody can guard her. Nobody can do anything. Nobody can play defense against her. Y'all just want people to just let her drive into the basket like they did when she was in college or whatever. Not denying that she's not a great shooter. Yes, she is a great shooter. But the thing about it is she was a great shooter when people wasn't holding her. Now people are holding her accountable. Now people are playing defense on her. Oh, now y'all whining and bitching and complaining about, oh, it's too rough. Women are going after her. Women are not doing anything. Women are not going after Caitlin Clark personally because it's Caitlin Clark. Women are going after Caitlin Clark because she's on the fever and she's opposition to their team. So if they don't want them to get physical with her, sit her ass on the bench. Let her not play. You know what I'm saying? Just simple as that or whatever. Because basketball is very aggressive. You know, y'all want the women to be dainty and things like that or whatever. But at the end of the day, daintiness is not winning championships. Caitlin is not a champion. She did not win either of the national championship. Angel Reese is, you know what I'm saying? And Angel Reese has been consistent with her improving since she has been in the WNBA and things like that. And Caitlin is leading in turnovers because they're bitching and complaining that the women are, is 2 to 3 people on her. Well, if you know that you got somebody that can drop threes from, down, down range or whatever, you just gonna leave her wide open and nobody guard her. So yes, I would definitely, put people on her to, shake her up and shake her ball handling up and things like that, because they already know that when she gets overplayed to her right side, that she goes to the left, she automatically turns the ball over. And this is just playing the game. Like I said, I played before, I've coached basketball before, and you have to get down, get dirty, and get physical. Again, if they don't want her to be engaged in the game, she shouldn't be out there playing and things like that. And then for them to try to force them to put her on the Olympic team, what has she done? She hasn't done anything. She hasn't won a championship. She didn't even compete in the 3-year process. She didn't try out. But again, it just goes to show how they want somebody who's mediocre, to be put on the team because she's the great white hype, the great white savior, and things like that or whatever. And she hasn't done anything to prove that she is worthy of being on the Olympic team. The people that are on the Olympic team, they won championships with their colleges, multiple championships with their colleges. Some of them have been MVPs in the league. Caitlin has zero international experience. She's coming off of the ride of being at Iowa, graduating from Iowa
and then go directly into the NBA. She hasn't even rested up yet. So, you want her to play 12 months out of the year, plus go into, the NBA, the WNBA and play. This woman hasn't even had, time to even rest her body. She hasn't even had time to transition. Her transition into the WNBA wasn't as smooth as people thought it was going to be. It wasn't as humpy gory as people thought it was going to be. They thought that she was going to come in and she was going to dominate like she did when she was in college. But they have to fail to realize is when she was in college that a lot of the people didn't guard her like they should have guarded her. And a lot of the people, the referees, are giving her bullshit ass calls just because, she's the people are bitching and complaining. And you can clearly see it on the court. Like Angel said, I guess some people don't get the whistle or whatever, because she before she shoots the ball, this is what she does. She pushes off, but nobody is calling that, and nobody is saying that she's pushing off. But everything that happens to her, they want to point it out, they want to call it and say that it's not fair, it's not this, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? We can bring this back to everyday life and things like that, or whatever. We can bring it back to the classroom. With white women not being able to control students and things like that, or whatever. And then they get jealous with black women who have total control over their classes. The kids are listening, the kids are respectful and things like that. But then they have a problem with black women who are in control of their classes and things. But again, Caitlin Clark is new to the WNBA. She is new to international to play, and she does not understand international play. And the women over there, they're going to be just as aggressive as the American women. So she is not ready for the Olympics. Can she shoot? Yeah, definitely. She can shoot. Nobody is taking that away from her. But as far as being a better player and more worthy of being on the Olympic team, she's not there yet. She has time to, develop her game from going from college to WNBA to international play, because the rules are different. You know what I'm saying? But these white folks, they just not found out who Caitlin Clark is because of Angel Reese, and she doing the Tony Yayo, and they're acting like, oh, she's the great white hype, and she put the WNBA on the map. Angel Reese put the WNBA on the map. Angel Reese put basketball on the on the map. It wasn't Caitlin Clark. Nobody even knew who Caitlin Clark was before Angel Reese pointed out the fact that she did this and she did this. But then when like Angel stated before, when they do it, it's not a problem. It's not a problem when they do it. It's okay, but it's a problem when we do it. So when she was over here doing the Tony Yayo and trying to be G and getting her ass checked, then people were talking about, oh, everybody is against Caitlin Clark. But my thing is, you got to be able to back up what you say. So if you can't back up that shit that you're talking, then don't talk shit. And that's just the bottom line. If you can't back up what's on the basketball court, take your ass to the locker room, sit down, let somebody else step up, let somebody else do it. And she's in for a rude awakening, and she sees that these women are coming for her and they're gunning for her and things like that or whatever, and they're gunning for her on the basketball court. That's just like with any competitive sport. I ran track. People were talking mad shit about us running track. I played basketball. People talk bad shit about playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it comes with the territory. And if you don't want to watch women talking shit to each other or whatever, change the channel. Don't watch it. You know what I'm saying? But
I agree with you and everything along that. I do have to get back to our favorite person, Donald Trump, because apparently this past weekend, not just the Juneteenth, but there was a Detroit pastor who hosted Donald Trump's controversial surprise roundtable at a African American church on Saturday, and the pastor said that people laughed in his face when he suggested coming to the event. So Pastor Lorenzo Sewell appeared on MSNBC on Sunday night to discuss the turnout at 180 Church for an event intended to be about tackling issues facing African American voters. And it does seem like some of the photos and footage from the event showed that the pews were packed mostly with a majority white crowd, and all along those lines. And actually, apparently, the anchor of MSNBC asked if the crowd was mostly white, and Sewell replied, "I was very surprised about how many black people were actually physically in the building." He added, "I remember walking down Grand River, a place that is desolate on the west side of Detroit, and walking down the street and just inviting people, saying the former president is here. If you want to come." They were laughing like I was when I first was approached. Sewell said he has He claims he has no political affiliation and hosted the event to bring together community leaders. He said, I don't worship a donkey or an elephant. He said, I worship the Lamb of God slain for the sins of the world, and anybody can come to his house and be prayed over. So apparently he was trying to say he was inviting Trump to come and talk about a number of issues in our community. But like I said, I've heard a couple of people that have said that the crowd seemed like it was a mostly white crowd that was there, even though it's a historically or a African American church. But I was wondering if you've heard about this incident and your take on Reverend Sewell.
Also, these people got to understand that, these people out here, like I said, are pandering for votes, and Trump has always pandered for votes and things like that. And so if he can find any dumbass black person that's out there that's going to kiss his ass or whatever to try to get them to, vote for him, he's going to show up and things like that. And I applaud the congregation for laughing in his damn face, because that's a slap in the face to bring that man into a black church and, things like that or whatever. So, yeah, I saw it on social media and stuff like that or whatever, and it was predominantly white people in the black church and stuff like that. Black people are not going for the BS or whatever, and these pastors got to understand that church and state needs to stay separated. That's why they have it separate and things like that or whatever. And you're trying to push people to vote for this man and stuff like that. This man ain't give a damn about y'all. The reason y'all got resources into Michigan with y'all water crisis is because of the Democrats. It had nothing to do with the Republicans. The Republicans ain't want to give y'all a damn thing. They said that y'all water was fine, that y'all can drink the water. When y'all had those high bills over there in Michigan and they were turning your water off, they didn't offer support. It was Biden and the Democrats that offered support, that sent money to you. It was not the Republicans. And people need to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Just because Donald Trump's name was on some of the checks or whatever, he was the commander in chief at the time, so his name is going to be on the checks. He had nothing to do with giving anybody any checks. Even with the stimulus check, he had nothing to do with sending out stimulus money to people. They were talking about, when Trump was in office, we had money. You ain't have no money. It was the Democrats that pushed for that money. The Republicans did not want to give you anything. The Republicans did not vote because we led in the House and the Senate or whatever. We were able to get enough votes by the Democrat by default by ourselves without Republican support and things like that. And that's what a lot of people fail to realize, because you have people out here like Sexy Red and other people who are clearly clueless about politics and what has taken place, talking about Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that. Donald Trump didn't do anything. It was Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, and Nancy Pelosi proved that she has beat the Republicans over and over and over when she as Speaker of the House. And now that Hakeem Jeffries has stepped up and he's the Speaker of the House, he's proven once again to beat them at their own game and things like that or whatever. So yeah, good hands up, applaud the black people that laughed in that pastor's face and things like that. And for him to say he invites anybody into the Lord's house or whatever, church and state has to be separate. That's why they have it separate. You know what I'm saying? And so you're over here pandering for votes, and then you're a 501c3, sir. Under your 501c3, you're not even supposed to have any type of political affiliation. So they need to report his ass to the IRS so he can lose his 501c3 status or whatever, because when you're a 501c3, a nonprofit, you cannot support either way any type of political affiliation. So you didn't invite Biden. You know what I'm saying? So it's clearly evident that you're pandering to, Trump and the Republicans and things like that. And for you to talk about, anybody that can come into, the house of the Lord, you're going to pray for him. Nah, you invited that devil into the house of the Lord because you want to be affiliated with him, because you think that, that's acceptance. And what black people got to understand, these people are not accepting you. They're tolerating you. And there's a difference.
But speaking of pandering and along those same lines, and I got to tease about a couple of other issues as well and everything. But the other thing that I'd seen online recently was, and apparently there was a lot of softball questions, even though he said he was going to invite other candidates, including RFK and Biden and everything. But I did see that Dr. Phil, who is supposed to be a doctor of some sort or another, invited Trump to be involved in a one-on-one interview. I did watch part of the interview, but it did seem like it was a lot of softball questions, and we know that if Biden comes on that stage, it will not be softball questions, but it seemed like that he was asking some questions that would be easy for Trump to answer and everything. But I just wanted your take, and then apparently Trump gave this a long, because a friend of mine sent me meandering speech that he gave where he was talking about sharks and electricity and a bunch of other things that really was totally rambling and didn't make that much sense. But I was wondering, did you see? I only watched bits of it. I'm not going to lie and say that I watched a lot of it, but from the clips that I did see, it does seem like it was some very softball type questions, as one has been in the journalism space and all along those lines. So, did you watch any of the Dr. Phil interview with former President Trump? And do you expect that either Biden or RFK Jr. will jump on the possibility of being interviewed by this media personality as well?
Honestly, I don't watch Dr. Phil because at the end of the day, he's a white man. You know what I'm saying? And he gonna do what white men do: support each other. And that's exactly what he's doing on, on his show and doing the interview, is supporting Trump to, pander for, votes and things like that or whatever. And what you expect from Trump? That's all he does is ramble. He talks to his base because his base is illiterate, and it's clearly evident that his base is illiterate and that they're uneducated and things like that or whatever, because he said before, why does his base look like that? Why does his base doesn't look like normal, regular people or rich people or whatever? And he got pissed that his base was poor white trash. You know what I'm saying? So, again, when you can't formulate two thoughts and put them together, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a bunch of rambling and all being all over the place and talking about this and talking about that and, things of that in that regard or whatever. So, like I said, I don't watch Dr. Phil, and I don't, watch anything that he has in terms of, like Trump or any other Republicans, because, these people have proven time and time again that they don't give a damn about black people. They only want your vote and things like that. When they came out talking about Trump can relate to black people because, he was arrested and things like that. All black people wasn't arrested. All black people haven't been in trouble. All black people does not have a felony. So, so that shows you right there what they think of, like black people, that you have no regard for, black people as being intellectuals and, professionals and things like that. You only think of black people in one way, and that's as criminals. And, clearly it has been, evident throughout his stance of law and order, because that's what he's pushing, law and order. So meaning that, when he gets back into office, if he gets back into office, he's going to push law and order. And he's basically telling black people that I don't care what you do, innocent or whatever. If the police shoot you, you're just shot. If the police arrest you, you're just arrested or whatever. And these people got to understand, when they said make America great again, America has never been great. And that's just the bottom line for, people of color and, people who are not considered, pure white and things like that. America has never been great. And I'm here to tell you, because Black people are still suffering at the hands of white colonialism. It's just in different forms, and white supremacy is just in different forms. They took off the hoods and the capes and things like that. They became judges, lawyers, policemen, and stuff like that. So we already know you racist asses are already in there, and you've already infiltrated or whatever. It's just a matter of time before we get to hold you accountable and point your asses out.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. But speaking of holding people accountable, and now given this man is now married and all along those lines, but apparently a rising star in the Republican Party got called out, but Pennsylvania State Representative Ryan McKenzie, who is a rising star and currently running for U.S. Congress as a quote-unquote cruising conservative in the state's 7th district, apparently he went ahead when he was in the single space and lied about his age on his dating profile by shaving off nearly a decade. So apparently the political icon, whose mother, Milo McKenzie, also serves alongside him in the Pennsylvania House, claimed to be 29 years old when he was actually 37, which is an 8-year discrepancy. And the Tinder profile seen by one of our media outlets says that the description said, always down for a good time, outgoing, funny, and enjoying traveling, skiing, trying new restaurants, and getting drinks with friends. So definitely, even one of the messages that he gave to one of the women said, surviving the pandemic. At this time, he was neither married nor engaged to his current wife, Chloe, but that's definitely something that's going on. Apparently, they have a young son together. But I just wanted your take when we got people out there, including some rising GOP stars that apparently had a dating profile and they were lying about their age, that they wanted to masquerade that they were something that they were not, and all along those lines. So, any thoughts around this? Because this was reported by, I think, one of the London press agencies and everything. So they were going like, yeah, y'all got some crazy politicians that want to be involved in the dating world and they want to lie about who they are and all in that space. So any thoughts about these politicians out there masquerading in one form or fashion or another?
Well, I mean, it's the writing is on the wall clearly because like Matt Gaetz, along with other politicians who have been involved with underage girls or whatever. That's what they do, and that's what they're known for. That they lie to like try to fancy themselves with younger women and things like that. And this situation is no different. He lied trying to get a younger woman, and apparently he worked. He got his wife, or if he was married or whatever. So it does nothing surprises or shocked me about these Republicans because they're gonna lie still and do whatever they need to do in order to get whatever they want. So lying about his age and lying about things that's on his profile, it is not surprising because we
No.
already know that a handful of them are pedophiles and things like that or whatever. So that's why when the Jeffrey Epstein case came about. I'm sorry, my Tic Tac fell out of my mouth. The Jeffrey Epstein case came about or whatever. It was totally chaotic because they didn't want their names to be put out there. You flying on this plane, going this private island, and things like that or whatever. If you did it, you did it. Say you did it. But again, Matt Gaetz, along with Trump, who's known for women grabbing women by the pussies. That's what he said. You just take them and grab them and things like that or whatever. That's what they do. But my thing is, even with I'm going to throw Diddy in there, even with the whole Diddy situation, y'all going after Diddy, but you didn't go after Trump. Trump did egregious things too, but you didn't go after him. You let him become commander in chief, but then y'all want to say on the other hand that, oh, Diddy is this, Diddy is that, or whatever. But that woman stayed in a relationship for 13 years. After a certain time, you start being a willing participant. You stop being a victim. You know what I'm saying? Because you had every opportunity to leave and walk out of that situation, but you wanted the connections, the lifestyle, and things like that. And this just like with Jeffrey Epstein and these Republicans, they wanted the connection, they wanted the lifestyle, they wanted all this stuff. And we can take it a step further, even with Clarence Thomas with his Supreme Court, with him benefiting from billionaires being flown here, being given this and given that or whatever. And they don't have a problem with it because he's conservative and he's a black conservative that are supporting their agenda, so they don't have a problem with it. But let it would have been Katanji, Sonia Sotomayor, or any one of the other ones, it would have been a major, disruption to the Supreme Court, and they would be trying to get them off of the Supreme Court. So, they do what they want to do, and they go after who they want to go after, and things like that or whatever. So, like I said, nothing surprises me about these people, and because on one hand, you over here praising Trump, on the other hand, you over here praising, disliking, other people. Like I said, Trump and Diddy, they are both in the same thing. He's not innocent. By far, he's not innocent. You talking about you grabbing women by the pussies. Diddy over here, he's doing other egregious things or whatever. But you allow one to become the commander in chief, but you want to diss the other. So pick and choose. Like,
Yeah,
because
you get to it. Things like that. I hear what you're saying, but there was another interesting story, and I definitely, as an educator, I want to hear what your thoughts are about this, and we'll get off of the Trump train here for a minute. But U.S. Surgeon General Vivek H. Murthy today called on Monday for there to be a tobacco-style warning label on social media to alert users that the platforms can harm children's mental health, escalating his warnings about the effects of online services such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So apparently, he wrote a New York Times opinion essay, and he urged Congress to enact legislation requiring that social media platforms, including the Surgeon General's warning, to regularly remind parents and adolescents that social media has not been proven safe. And he cited evidence that adolescents who spend significant time on social media are at greater risk of experiencing anxiety and depression, and that many young people say the platforms have worsened their body image. So I'm trying to figure out how you're going to do that, because on a cigarette cart, and I've never smoked, but I do know what a cigarette cart looks like, there is something that you physically can place it on. So are you going to physically place it on the computer, or are you going to place it on the box in the computer? So I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work. But you are in the education space. Is it going to work? And is it something that we need to be doing? Because this is our Surgeon General that is saying that we need to put a warning on the social media that is out there, because it is harming our young people. And you talk to educators all the time, because you are an educator. So I just wanted your thoughts about this notion of being able to place a warning on social media?
They can do whatever. At the end of the day, you have to hold these parents accountable. The parents are out here making TikToks with their children and things like that. And as far as body image is concerned, nobody is responsible for somebody else's self-esteem and their body image. If you have a problem with somebody else because of the way they look, then yes, you have a mental problem. You know what I'm saying? You have a problem with because somebody else is happy in their own space, then something is wrong with you, definitely. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, it's up to the parents to, regulate their children and, things like that or whatever. They need to do that. We can't regulate the children. All we're there for is to instruct and do what we're supposed to do, and that's teach your child. Like they say, cell phones should be restricted from schools. No, you need to tell the parents, don't buy the kids the cell phones, don't get them kids a cell phone. It's not the school responsibility to restrict the cell phones, it's the parents' responsibility to restrict those cell phones. So if you send your child to school with a cell phone, I'm not taking that cell phone, I'm not getting in that battle. That's between you and your child. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before, I'm going to pick and choose my battles, and battling over a cell phone is not something that I'm going to do, because at the end of the day, if something happens to that cell phone, I'm not being responsible for it. I'm not buying another one. I'm not doing any of that. So if your child comes to school because you knew your child had the cell phone before they walked out the house, you knew that your child had this device before they walked out the house, because 9 times out of 10, y'all bought the device for y'all children or whatever. So, we need to stop trying to push everything off on the educators and, people who are not responsible for those children and things like that or whatever, and hold the people who gave birth to them responsible, hold those parents responsible. If there's a problem with the children not learning, hold the parents responsible. It's not the educator's fault, it's the parents' fault. And I'm so sick of people running around here talking about, oh, the teachers this, the teachers that. No, we show up to do our job. You have to send your child ready to receive that information and ready to learn, because it's not my job to parent your child. It's not my job to discipline your child. It's not my job to do any of those things. I come to do what I'm paid for, and that's to educate your child on my subject area in my expertise and things like that. So they need to stop pushing this narrative that it's the teachers and it's the school. No, it's not the teachers and the school. It's the parents and the child, because they outnumber us. The teacher is one person in this equation. The parent and the child is 2/3 in this equation. So they need to be held accountable. And as far as, the warning label, he can put whatever he want to put on a warning label. Social media is optional. It's not like social media is a main thing where you have to have it. Social media is optional, and the parents need to be more vigilant about monitoring their children on social media. They need to have conversations with their children. They need to talk about body image, positive body image, and things like that. They need to stop allowing them to watch these women who are getting these BBLs and having these great bodies and things like that they think is real, but is actually fake. That's a parental concern, so that's something that the parents need to do. And if you're a person who has poor self-esteem, that's on you. You need to seek help. You need to get somebody to talk to, get a therapist or whatever, because me and my body has nothing to do with you. And I'm not going to stop dressing and wearing my clothes because you lacking confidence. Your insecurities has nothing to do with me. That's on you. That's something that you have to come to terms with, that you have to come to grips with. That's something on you. Like I tell people all the time, I post 1,001 pictures of myself on social media every day. So anybody that's connected to me, you're gonna look at 1,001 pictures of myself on social media. When I was a little heavier, I posted pictures on social media. Now that I've lost weight, I still post pictures on social media. It has nothing to do with me having a poor body image, a negative body image, or anything like that, or I'm trying to look like somebody else. No, I'm trying to look like me. I'm trying to look like the person that I see in the mirror and things like that, that's staring back at me every day. And like I said, if anybody has a problem with somebody else and the way that they look, then they need to seek counseling. They need to seek help. And then, my thing is, you have a problem because somebody else is physically fit, somebody else is going to the gym. Get your lazy ass up and go to the gym. Go work out, go walk, go do something, change your eating habits, get your body the way, I'm sorry, I'm moving my computer. Get your body the way that you want it, instead of, hating on somebody else because somebody else has, a nice beach summer body or whatever. But what did you do in the process to garner that body? Did you work out? Did you change your eating habits? Did you push back from the table? Did you stop drinking sugary drinks? Do you drink enough water? Did you do any of this stuff? But the accountability has been taken from the actual person and put on somebody else. So, because you have a negative perception of your body. So I'm supposed to cover up and wear things to, appease you because you have problems with your self-image. Nah, you better get out of here, because when I step out, I step out for me. When I dress, I dress for me. When I go to the beach and throw on my two pieces, it's because that's what I want to do. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with nobody else, and it has nothing to do with me trying to body shame somebody. I ain't trying to body shame you. Your body is your body, and what
Yeah,
you
that's
do with
good.
it is what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
these people got to get out of that foolishness about, somebody else has to do something because, it's a problem for somebody else. And I've been, reading these Reddit stories about how people are jealous because, the sibling is, excelling better than, another sibling, and they have to score lower because the sibling will get jealous. Okay, and let them get jealous, because if you're not academically astute, then you're just not academically astute. But I can't, I shouldn't have to diminish my light because you have issues and you can't, perform the way that I perform. Everybody is not the same. Everybody is not going to perform the same. Everybody is not going to look the same. Everybody is not going to do anything the same.
no, I hear what you're
All
saying.
different.
Yeah,
So
but
these people need to get over that stuff or whatever. And if you have a problem with social media and people on social media, get your ass off social media. And if you want to look a certain way, go to the damn gym. Stop pushing back from, start pushing back from the table. Start doing what you're supposed to do. Change your eating habits. Get healthy. Because me, I don't give a rat's ass about how you look. Whatever you do is what you do. Like I said, what you eat don't make me shit. You know what I'm saying? So I could care less about your body image and your mental health and your what you got going on. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's not my problem.
no, that makes a lot of sense. But Dr. Anthony, I do have to ask you a question based in, you would have heard about it last week because it literally happened last week. It happened
Mm-hmm.
actually on this day last week and everything. But I do have an issue with people that are living a certain lifestyle that put their own folks at risk and everything. Because I literally almost missed, and I have said it on other shows, so I'm not speaking out of school, but I missed by maybe 2 minutes being a seeing and maybe even being part of a gun shooting, because literally the drugstore right across from me there was a drive-by shooting, and I was talking to one of the managers of the store and all along those lines, and they mentioned the fact that the person that was there and that was the victim in the shooting, because there was a baby that was literally hit, but the baby is doing well, the baby survived and everything. But two things happened, because I was talking to the manager or one of the managers of the store, and they said there were 5 people in the car. The person that was the victim or the target was a known drug dealer. So my question is, why did the mother let the baby even go on the trip with these 5 individuals and everything? Because there were 5 people, and 2 of the people with the baby known to be in the car ran away and everything. So they literally ran away when the shooting took place and everything, and all in that space. So I just wanted your thoughts, because gun violence, we've had a number of incidences. That's just one that literally happened about a week ago today, about a week ago and 3 hours ago, because it was like around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I was literally coming to work on that particular day, and like I said, I literally got off the bus, and one of the coworkers literally was walking down to the bus stop. So we both missed it by maybe 5 minutes, if that. And I'm definitely blessed that I missed that incident and all along those lines. But I just wanted your take on the accessibility of guns, and also if you were a mother. I know you're not a mother, just like I'm not a father, but you do have your nephews that you take care of, just like I try to take care of, or at least keep in touch with my nephews and everything. Why would a mother, if they know that the person is a known drug dealer, even let them go out with the baby in the first place and everything? Because that seems to me to be some serious irresponsibility and all along those lines. But I just wanted your take on that and all along those lines.
Well, I mean, you can't control what happens or whatever, but again, you can control who your baby is around. Maybe the one of the persons that's in the car, maybe he was the father,
Right.
or a relative or whatever. He thought that they were gonna just run to the store and come right back or whatever. And that's just, we just can't blame it on, crime in the Black community. That's just like, when we go to a store and the white people come up in there and shoot up a store. So we're not supposed to go to the store because, we have to live in fear. We can't just continue to live in fear or whatever
Right.
about, doing certain things. But, at the end of the day, we don't control, what happens when it comes to, different people and, different situations or whatever. But you can control what happens with your child. And again, maybe the baby was a relative or whatever. Maybe the baby was crying to go. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But, people out here, they're having these psychotic breaks, they're having these mental issues, they're battling with themselves and things like that or whatever. So you just never know. It's not a wrong or right answer in these type situations. It's just, preventative measures. And, maybe if she would have prevented him from getting in the car, nothing would have happened. But who's to say that, in broad daylight like that, we would think you would think that, we would be going down in, a gun battle and stuff like that. But, again, when it comes to these young people have no regard for life. So, you have to just be extra precautious about, what's happening, with your child and things like that. But, like I said, you don't know her mental state. We don't know the whole, we don't know the whole gamut of, what happened and, what took place or whatever. Like I said, maybe they were just running to the store for less than 5 minutes to, get something, grab something out the store and, things like that or whatever. And then you mentioned 2 people running in the gun. So what, they were supposed to just stay there and get shot? I mean, I understand the baby's in the car or whatever, but that's a natural response when you hear gunfire and people are going to take off running and things like that or whatever. And then you never know who was the target, in the vehicle. Maybe somebody was after her baby or trying to get to her. Maybe somebody was after one of the persons in the vehicle. We never know or whatever, with these type of situations, because again, we have no control over a person's mental capacity and we don't know where they are mentally, when it comes to, different situations. And like I tell people all the time, these young people have no regard for life. So, you can't say anything to, anybody in the streets anymore. Like you could back in the day, you had a village, you could chastise a child. You could tell them, go home, do whatever. These children are packing, they're carrying guns, they're doing this, they're doing that. So guess what? I'm going to let your child pack. I'm going to let your child do whatever. I'm not saying anything to your child. I'm not doing any of that because that's between you and your child. But again, we don't know the mental state of these people. We don't know what transpired. We don't know who did what or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So who knows, what was the, the precursor to, the shooting taking place. We have no idea. That's just like here in DC. We have shootings, over here all the time. People are just randomly shooting in the air, randomly shooting at, different things or whatever. And people are getting shot by random loose stray bullets. So, we just never know, the person just may have felt like, today was that day. We never know, it's just no right or wrong answer, from my standpoint about, why this continue to happen and, things like that or whatever. Because like I said, these young people don't have no regard for life. None whatsoever.
But what do you think we can do? Just because Durham's not the only one. I did run into our mayor at that same Juneteenth celebration, everything, and he is concerned about the gun increases that our young people are having access to the guns. So what do you think is the answer that we can do to totally curtail some of the gun violence in general? I mean, I know you're not an expert necessarily in the field, but any theories that you've got about things that we can do to slow down the gun violence, whether it's in Durham or whether it's in a number of other places as well. So whether it's even in Louisiana, and I heard there were some increases in Memphis and other places also. But what is your theories about ways that we can hopefully curtail this accessibility of guns and people just kind of like, back in the day when we wanted to have a fight, it would be a fist fight and maybe you get a blade, but it was not going to be a lot of people reaching for Glocks and guns and things along those lines. So I just wonder, what is your take on what we can do to improve the situation with our young people and having over access to guns?
Well, I mean, the thing about, the gun situation is where are they getting the guns from? Because apparently they're getting them from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So you have to tackle like these gun shows and, these loopholes for people buying the guns and people having these illegal weapons and, things like that or whatever. But we already know that they infiltrate, the Black community with guns because they push that Black on Black crime and that violence and things like that or whatever. So, we have to go after the people who are peddling those guns into, the communities, in order to make a difference, because guns don't kill people. People kill people, so, you have law-abiding citizens who owns guns. My brother is a law-abiding citizen. He has a collection of guns. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't been out there in the streets and, killing people. I know other people who has, a collection of guns and they haven't been outside, just randomly killing people and things like that or whatever. So we have to go after those that those people who are, just out there, illegally selling guns to these young people and, stuff like that. And so we have to find ways to, like target them and to, get those illegal guns off the street. Because again, some of these kids who are, shooting and killing, not even old enough to purchase a gun. So where did they get the gun from? You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at the obvious, so it's somebody in the neighborhood or somebody that's around the way that, are supplying these people with the access to, like ammunition and, guns and, things like that or whatever. Because, the stopping the sale of guns is not going to stop the killing. We have to target the focus. We have to find a general focus. Because like I said, guns don't kill people. People kill people. That's just like, saying that we can't sell a certain type of car because the car is, too fast. It's not the car that is too fast. It's the person that's driving the car that's driving the car too fast. So we have to look at it, from a different perspective and from a different standpoint or whatever. We just can't take, people right to bear arms away just because, we have all this excess killing, but we can, enact, policies and procedures for the illegal sale of, ammunition and things like that. And I think that's where they need to go, and that's where they need to target. And they also need to infiltrate the police station, because a lot of the people are getting guns from the policemen. So we have to look at the hard truth and the hard facts of where they're getting the guns from. They're not even old enough to purchase the guns. So where they getting them? For example, Kyle Rittenhouse, somebody else purchased the gun for him, and then his mother drove him across country for him to go cross country to kill, 3-4 people, but they didn't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So they should have been held accessory to the crime because he wasn't even old enough to purchase the gun. So this is where we have the problem at right here. People giving children or, young people guns who are not even old enough to purchase those guns. So we have to go after those people. And once we start going after those people and, avoiding, these loopholes and things, we will be, in a better situation as far as, tackling, the gun violence and, things like that or whatever.
I definitely agree with you on that and everything. I know we only got maybe another 5-10 minutes to go, but definitely another wonderful discussion. But I did say I was going to tease you and everything. But one of the stories I had seen over the week was this notion, and I know that y'all are out of school, of teachers kind of like coming dressed as their students and everything. So I did see that was very cute, and a lot of people were enjoying that. And I think you told me that is something that y'all have done. So maybe y'all will come out dressed in the baggy pants and some of the other things that students are known for. So I guess it's during Spirit Week and other things along those lines. So I was just wondering your take on that and everything in that space, because I do know that can be a fun thing that folks like to do, is have a chance to be like their students for a minute.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, we're not always serious as professionals. We try to engage the students to, show personality and, things like that. So we tend to, during Spirit Week, we tend to, dress up with the kids and, try to give them a different perspective of their educators and, show them that we are human and, things like that. Because even at my school, we had where the students dressed up as teachers and teachers dressed up as students. And we did that. And, we thought it was very hilarious. The kids thought it was very hilarious. I had several girls, come in heels and dresses, and they said that they were dressed up like Dr. Anthony, which I really appreciate, because that just lets me know that I'm making a serious impact on these children, and they watch me and they emulate me, and they want to be like me, and things like that or whatever. But as far as the teachers were concerned, they thought it was so hilarious that we were wearing baggy pants and the bonnets and the eyelashes and all this stuff or whatever, and they thought that was super funny, and they really enjoyed us participating in the Spirit Week and things like that. So, when we can have those type of, activities and things, I think it, bodes over very well with the teachers and the students, because they get to see us in a different light. They get to see us, not in the professional stance as, we're instructing every day, but they also get to see us as regular people. And they have to understand that we are regular people as well. So, participating in Spirit Week and participating in, things with the to do and get the staff to participate. Like we had a staff cookout today. We had a Western theme, so I dressed up, how we dress in Louisiana. Cowboy hat, my jean shorts, and my cowboy boots, and that's the way we dress in Louisiana when we go to trail rides and things like that or whatever. So I try to bring a little Louisiana culture in, everything that I do, and things like that or whatever. Although the kids are not there, but we still try to have camaraderie, building morale, team spirit, and all that for the educators, because the educators need that as well. But having the teachers dress up like the students, and the students seeing us in a different light, that's always a positive thing, because the kids really enjoyed it and they really liked it.
Well, speaking of Spirit Week in Louisiana, because I know that you were talking about opportunities, but I did hear over this weekend, actually, I talked to her, I think it was yesterday, that I did talk to the young lady, April Hawthorne, that I told you I had met, and all along those lines, who's working in the whole space of Louisiana and doing a lot in the whole notion of government work. She might be even moving here to take a job and all along those lines. But I did talk to her because she is the head of the Baton Rouge North Economics Development Director. And she did tell me that I could pass her information to you. So after this show and in the near future, I will send you her email, because I know that you were talking about the possibility of wanting to get back to the home front at some point or another, but she was definitely willing to have that conversation with you and all along those lines. So I did talk to her yesterday, and she was looking to have a conversation with you, because like I said, I met with her as they were talking about city development here at an event about 2 weeks ago, and all in that space. But on a more harder note, and we can talk about this next week and everything, I did see two news stories that were interesting. One that involved Maryland. So apparently in Maryland, the Maryland governor pardoned about 175,000 marijuana convictions as part of the Juneteenth celebration, and the fact that a lot of times this is a what is considered a non-victim kind of crime and everything, or victimless kind of crime. So apparently Governor Westmore is absolving the conviction of more than 175,000 cannabis-related crimes in what the governor called the most sweeping state-level pardon in any state in American history. So the large-scale absolution comes a year after Maryland legalized recreational marijuana use. So that was some interesting news. And I also saw, which I know we've talked about on the past shows, that Biden is expected to announce a new immigration program tomorrow that can provide a path to citizenship for hundreds of thousands of immigrants in the country illegally who are married to U.S. citizens, according to lawmakers and others familiar with the matter. So he's planning to make that announcement tomorrow at the White House alongside members of the Congress, immigration advocates, and U.S. citizens who, because of arcane immigration rules, haven't been able to sponsor their spouses for a green card. So we might be getting some more people coming into the country that were married to folks and all along those lines. So this ought to be some interesting discussions as well, but we can get into that maybe some next week, unless you've got something you want to say about either of those, the decriminalization or the possibility that we may be having an influx of immigrants coming into the country.
Well, we're going to always have an influx of immigrants coming into the country, because, they feel like the American USA is the land of milk and honey. And to a certain degree, to some of them, it is the land of milk and honey. And, but the thing about, having immigrants here, we open the floor back up for jobs and things that, most people are not going to do. And, people are complaining about, things are going up, but they have to fault the Republicans for that. They have to blame the Republicans, because one key person was Ron DeSantis. When he started, expelling immigrants from Florida, then you lost your labor. You lost your labor force. You lost labor force in other states where, picking fruit and, getting all these things or whatever. So yeah, quite naturally, if you lost your labor force, things are going to go up. You lost your labor force with, building houses and things like that or whatever. So now, you were able to roll out, house after house after house. All of that stopped when, you lost your labor force or whatever. So everything, so is centered around immigration and, having people to be able to work, to take those jobs, to take menial jobs, and to do the things that, some Americans don't want to do. And, in that regard or whatever. So, everything affects everything. So, not having immigrants here is going to affect the e-commerce, and it's going to affect, the money that is put into the economy. And before we, dismiss, I'm gonna just say kudos to Westmore. He should have, commuted a lot of the censuses, 175,000 people. That's good, because my thing is, why should Black people bear the brunt end of the force for, marijuana, but white people get to bear the monetary gain from it. So these people will have an opportunity to, like better themselves, get better jobs, and not have those felony convictions on themselves. And I hope and I wish that other states follow suit, that we can commute some more of those persons who were charged for possessing marijuana and things like that, and dispel the narrative that marijuana is a dangerous drug. Marijuana is not a dangerous drug, and that's the narrative that they were pushing to with the war on crime, with the drug war on Black Americans and things like that, to substantiate giving the time that they were given and things like that. So kudos out to Governor Westmore.
Sounds like a great
Mark,
thing. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, the clock on the wall says that's pretty much all. So, we can continue with the conversation on next Monday and pick up where we left off. We will have some more interesting topics. I do want to get into, like the royal family and things like that or whatever on the next show. And more than likely, we will be discussing Angel Reese. I did get an opportunity to see her play. She's awesome, at Capital One Arena. I will, I've been to the Mystics games before. This is not a first time that I've supported, the Mystics and, things like that. But I was to that game. I was specifically there to show support to Angel Reese and, things like that or whatever. So, yeah, definitely next week we'll have a lineup of new topics and new issues that we're going to discuss, and that I'm quite sure Mark is going to throw at me. So make sure you guys tune in, click like and share. And, that's it, my peoples, my loves. See you next time.
Time to wrap up and everything, but Dr. Anthony, if you're not careful, I might reach out to Angel Reese, and we might have Angel Reese on one of these shows, because I'm crazy enough to try to reach out to her and try to find a way to get her on the show. So I love her. I know she's got agents and other people that are the gatekeepers, but sometimes I can find ways around the gatekeepers. Not gonna make any promises, but I'm crazy enough to try to attempt to get her.
I love her. I'm definitely an Angel Reese fan. Get her. I love her. Yep.
So we'll see what we can do and all on those lines. But like you said, the clock on the wall says it's time to wrap this up. So we're going to be out of here. It's been another fun conversation. As always, I enjoy seeing you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. And I will send you that information.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay, no problem.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.